星のカービィor Kirby's Dreamland, was developed in 1992 by HAL Laboratory. This was the first game in the Kirby series, and it's the first Kirby game I've ever played, not counting playing as Kirbs in Smash. In the first stage, you find yourself in Green Greens. Right away, you are greeted with some familiar and catchy Kirby music in beautiful chiptune fashion. This little thing is so fucking cute, and I just love how he has this constant look of indifference throughout the entire game. It's kind of badass. After poofing around vacuuming some enemies, we reach the mid-boss of the level. The mid-boss is this happy little jumpy circle with legs and a Santa hat throwing bombs at you. After looking it up, I found that it is a he, and his name is Poppy Bros Sr. This is where I learned that a majority of the bosses will usually throw stuff at you so that you can vacuum it and projectile vomit it right back at them. Smack him with 3 of his own bombs and he goes poof. You continue on destroying your enemies and creating a warpath, when you hilariously zigzag fall and meet the first boss, the questionable tree called Wispy Woods. Smack him with 6 apples and he's down for the count. The real gift of defeating bosses in this game is Kirby's Dance of Indifference. This dance comes after every completed boss battle, and it's one of my favorite parts of the game. The next stage is called Castle Lololo, where the level bosses are Lololo and La La La. A part of this level took place underwater, which was pretty cool. Make sure you don't touch these beautiful creatures. During this final battle, timing was the key to success. Stage 3 is Float Islands. On a quick side note, inflated Kirby walking around is just plain entertaining. After platforming, vacuuming, and wobbling, Kirbs hitches a ride on the Warp Star and gets himself stuck into some sort of geyser that launches him into the end part of the stage. Get past a few more enemies, and you encounter the Stage 3 boss, Kabula. Kabula is this blimp with an attached cannon that's on a mission to blast Kirbo out of the sky. Kirbib eats what looks like a leaf, which gives him the ability to stay afloat while fighting Kabula, whose boss battle plays out something like a side-scrolling shooter. Oh yes, nothing more intimidating than Stage 4, Bubbly Clouds. There's nothing too intimidating about this level, just a bit of an increase in enemies. The mid-boss is Kracko Jr., which, fittingly enough, is this hyped eyeball fidget spinner. After defeating him, Kirbs takes another ride on a Warp Star into the night sky. After defeating all the enemies, Kirby has a second encounter with the mid-boss, who is now evolved to Kracko, the spiky eyeball cloud. After defeating Kracko, Kirby takes the Warp Star to Stage 5, Mount Dedede. In this final stage, prior to facing King Dedede, you enter 4 different doors and replay all 4 of the boss battles that you just beat. One of my favorite parts of the game is when you enter Kracko's door. The Kirbs just kind of accepts his fate, and you're able to ignore all the enemies around you as Kirbo yeets for approximately 7 to 8 seconds and eats shit at the bottom of the level. Basically me on Mondays. Once you defeat each boss again and reach King Dedede, you fight him in a cute little boxing ring. King Dedede is super adorable with his attacks and slips. It took me an embarrassingly long amount of time during my first playthrough to figure out that the stars that come out of his mallet hits and body slams is what you need to vacuum in order to deal some damage to him. After hitting King Dedede 10 times, the game is completed. My first playthrough took me about 45 minutes to figure out and complete on my Game Boy Color. I played my second playthrough on the GameCube utilizing the Game Boy player, and the controls using the GameCube controller felt a bit slippery. I prefer playing it on the Game Boy. The replayability for this game is super high, as it's a really fun and easy game to just pick up and play to improve your completion times. My personal copy was imported from Japan, and you don't need to know any Japanese whatsoever to play it. This is one of the most charming and cute games I've ever played because I was never really into cute games growing up, and I'm actually really excited to play the second installment.